Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming to watch. I've got guys an update on a major winter storm that we have brewing here for the southeastern United States. This could definitely bring snowfall really far south. We're talking about potentially historic snowfall for a lot of these areas along the Gulf Coast. I've got all the details coming right up. So thank you all for joining me here on this Monday evening. We have a lot to talk about in this videos. We're going to go over once again all the latest details on your upcoming winter storm that we already have brewing here for the southern United States. We're going to be talking about snow totals as well as ice totals as we have freezing rain also expected for parts of the storm. So we're going to start here by taking a look at your current radar. You can see we have a couple things going on. All right, one on the northern side, you can see we have a lot of showers starting to build across sections of northern Texas into portions of Oklahoma and into Arkansas. Okay, these have been mainly very light, and precipitation is really starting out to be not too heavy at this very moment. Now, if you look south of there, this is right around where our freezing line is. You can see we have actually turned over to snow across sections of southern Texas. So it's pretty wild that you see snow farther south than the rain. You usually don't see that, but this is a very odd storm here, and we're a lot of this is probably snowfall. It's just that this radar is not picking up on any snow, but there is most likely there is snow starting to mix in here. All right, and this will likely continue over the next couple of hours. And so once again, probably not seeing rainfall in here. But I do think that really the most heavy snowfall is going to be somewhere into that area. All right, so we're going to take a look at your alerts here. So you can see starting out into the Gulf of Mexico, you can see we have a lot going on right now. The entire eastern half of the United States is very bright. Now the western half of the United States is relatively quiet for now. All right, but you can see this pink shade going out all the way from southern Texas all the way out to southern South Carolina. You can see we have winter storm warnings. Okay, when was the last time we had winter storm warnings in Florida here? You can actually see the Florida Panhandle is currently under winter storm warnings. Yes, in that pink shade, that is where we have winter storm warnings. In northern Florida, we have winter storm warnings going out for southern portions of Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. This does include Houston. All right, and this does also go into a lot of these Gulf Coast states. So pretty wild stuff. I mean, this is definitely going to be a storm, not because of the snow, the amount of snow we're seeing, because of how far south this is getting. So just pretty wild stuff. But if you look north of here, you can see where all of our cold air is trapped. This is our Arctic area that's moving in. You can see it has prompted the National Weather Service to issue a lot of alerts for a lot of counties out here because of how cold it is. So if you're in the steel shade here, we'll take example here for portions of Missouri. All right, if you're in the steel shade, that is where we have cold weather advisories. That is going out for pretty much the entire eastern half of the United States. That's going out for pretty much all the way out from the Great Plains into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and then into the East Coast here. All right, but I want you guys also to notice that if you're in this dark blue shade, this is where we have extreme cold warnings. This is where we are talking about uh, wind chills that could be as low as negative 30 degrees in some spots. So uh, different National Weather Service offices have different standards. But I mean, if you're talking about like North Dakota here, okay, we're talking about wind chills that could be as low as negative 55 degrees. So that's not the actual temperature, that's just how cold the wind is making it feel like outside. But we are seeing extreme cold conditions out in these regions that are currently in this dark blue shade. Now, if you're talking about areas a little bit farther south, like into western Texas here and portions of southern New Mexico, like yeah, it is very cold. Okay, but it's not like to that crazy extent there. But you can see, if we were talking about a different area, obviously those standards would be a little bit lower, so we would probably see a little bit of those higher temperatures than what we're seeing up here into the Great Plains. But you get what I'm talking about. So just very cold air. I mean, this is what we were expecting with that major Arctic blast. These are the results we get. You can see a little bit of those extreme cold warnings are also going out for sections of West Virginia into West Virginia, and then southern counties in Pennsylvania, and then a couple of counties out here in the northeastern Pennsylvania as well. All right, so we're going to be moving on here to the NAM 3 cam model. We're going to be taking a look at what you can expect for the next couple of hours. We're going to be kind of tracking what this storm is going to be doing over the next couple of hours. So you can see as we go into tomorrow morning, we will start to see a lot of that snowfall and sleet work its way farther south as that low pressure probably going to be moving it like this, and it'll be cutting across the Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of hours as we get into tonight and then into tomorrow morning and then into tomorrow afternoon. But let me take that off your screen there. We'll take a look. You can already see we have pockets of heavy snow and sleet breaking out across sections of southern Texas into Louisiana. Houston at this point on the NAM, it wants you guys to stay as all sleet and snow. It wants you guys to have a couple hours of pretty heavy, moderate to heavy snowfall here. I do think there could definitely be some, interior bands of heavier snowfall here. So you'll mainly get just some light to moderate snowfall, but within those bands you will get heavier pockets of snow, and that could definitely kind of rack up those totals there and produce localized areas of higher totals. But you can see as that moves to the east, that snow really becomes more widespread. And your rain snow line is all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, that is extremely far south. But you can see on the southern side of the storm, this is just north of low pressure. You have a lot of rainfall going on here. That's where your moisture is coming from. But I mean, look at how much snow we're seeing breaking out across sections of southern Mississippi, Alabama, into Georgia. But look at southern Louisiana. Look at Baton Rouge. Look at all these coastal regions that really haven't seen snow in decades. Some of these places haven't seen snow in decades, but a lot of snowfall starting to break out across these regions, and this is heavy snow. This isn't just like kind of flurries. This is heavy snow breaking out across now portions of the far western Florida Panhandle into sections of southern Mississippi, Alabama. Okay, you see these dark blues, dark purple. I mean, that is a heavy and nasty wintry mix right around where that freezing mark is, and that continues to move off to the east. Now, this is the thing that gets me really worried about this storm. Watch what happens as this interacts with more moisture. You get a kind of handoff low here, where you get your main low pressure to kind of, form another one way up here, and all of a sudden you have two separate low pressure systems that are kind of creating this massive system to start spreading out. And so now you have all of a sudden a huge winter storm stretching from northern Florida all the way up and back into coastal mid-Atlantic. You're seeing snow into Delaware at this point. All right, but this is a very large swath of wintry precipitation. So basically, what that does is it amplifies the amount of moisture that you get, and so you're starting to see a lot more mixing going on across sections of northern Florida into Georgia and into the coastal regions of South Carolina. So when you get that mixing, you're gonna have problems with freezing rain and sleet. So this, to me, looks like a huge pocket of extremely heavy freezing rain and sleet, which will obviously accumulate on those surfaces because of how cold it is. And that's not going to be good because obviously any freezing rain accumulation is just going to cause very, very icy travel. And that continues for hours. I mean, that is starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. And that doesn't end until 3 in the morning. So that's several hours of heavy freezing rain and sleet before before the storm even moves out. But really, at its peak, this thing is going to be producing heavy snowfall, mainly on the backside to portions of South Carolina, North Carolina, and these areas that are going to start out as rainfall. So you're going to get a first initial band of rainfall, and then you will eventually switch over to snow if you're in the Carolinas, because of that Arctic air that will be kind of funneling on the backside. And then obviously you can see that high pressure really starting to push in that cooler Arctic air behind the storm system, and that moves on out. So yes, you will see snow in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. You will definitely see freezing rain and sleet across sections of coastal Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. You will have mixing problems for a lot of these areas. All right, but you are going to stay all snow for these areas. You will see all snow for these areas. This is going to be where we're going to see the heavy snowfall. If anything, this is going to be your jackpot area. Anybody in here has a chance for seeing, close to 8 inches of snow. I'd say 8 to 10 inches is really going to be where the highest amount I think is going to be seen. I think that's the most snow we're going to measure. During this entire system, I think it's going to be right around the 8 to 10 inch kind of mark there. But really, as we get into tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, that's going to be the peak of the heaviest precipitation, and that's going to come in the form of freezing rain and snow across sections of the far coastal southeastern United States. And then after we wake up on early Wednesday, that storm pretty much moves on out. All right, so we switch over to the NAM3 camera. We take a look at your snow totals. So this is pretty interesting to look. You can actually see. We'll start out here into portions of eastern Texas. You're a little cut off the map here, but you can see we are expecting 2 to 4 inches of snow in eastern Texas. I mean, this is right around Houston. I think Houston might be a little bit farther to the east, but you can see the general Houston area. About 2 to 4 inches of snow is certainly possible. This will create messy travel, reduced visibility, and I mean, this is definitely going to cause some problems. So there is the chance for seeing some pretty decent accumulation out here. I mean, if you're talking about Houston standards, this is a very major and significant winter storm. But 2 to 4 inches in Houston is definitely going to cause some problems, just because there's still going to be those people that aren't exactly prepared for this, because no one really expected this to actually occur. If you're talking about just everyday people living in Houston, no one would really expect snow to be on the way. But move over to the east a little bit here, and you take a look at what the NAM is pinpointing here in sections of southern Louisiana. You can see we have a pretty nice swath of about 6 to 8 inches of snow. This is right now where we're seeing mainly the highest totals. The NAM wants 6 to 8 inches across sections of southern Louisiana. I think that's certainly a possibility. I think that this is not an overhyped scenario. I think a lot of the models and even the National Weather Service is going for similar amounts. So if you're in Baton Rouge, you're going to get snow. If you're in New Orleans, you're going to get snow. New Orleans, I think, is going to struggle. You guys are going to struggle between freezing rain and sleet and snow. I think you're going to get more of a mix. That will probably come out to about 1 to 2 inches if you're lucky. Maybe closer to 2 to 4 inches. But I think north of coastal Louisiana, this area once again, I think is going to have the greatest opportunity for seeing about 6 to 8 inches, and seeing obviously the possibility of having the highest totals of anybody out here in the southeastern United States. Now you move over here to sections of southern Mississippi and Alabama. You can see more of the same, with about 2 to 4 inches of snow expected, but obviously freezing rain will also come into play. Sleet will also definitely be a factor as you move a little bit farther to the east, but you can see a lot of these totals right around the 2 to 4 inch mark. But if you're a little bit closer to Louisiana, maybe an area of 5 or 6 inches of snow. I think that's possible, but it's really this. It's very similar for a lot of other areas. I mean, you can even look at the Florida Panhandle, where we do pick up on an area. This includes sleet, I believe, but there is an area on the NAM that is going for about 4 to 6 inches in the far western Florida Panhandle. I think that is a possibility if mixing issues are a little bit less of a problem there. If you're talking about staying snowfall, but staying with snow. Right, but I think inside of here we could definitely have a pocket of 4 to 6 inch readings somewhere across sections of southern Alabama and the far western Florida Panhandle. So be prepared. This is regardless of how much snow you get. You just need to make sure that you're being aware of the possibly slippery and dangerous travel that lies ahead. Because if you're going to get just even a couple inches of snow, that could definitely cause some sliding problems, and obviously just if that does freeze overnight, which is possible because you're going to get that Arctic plunge, all of that snowfall that if it doesn't end up melting, if you get any type of liquid on the roads, okay, that's all going to freeze because of the incoming Arctic air. So there will be problems with that, even if you do only get about 1 to 2 inches. But that's what we see out here in Georgia, about 2 to 4 inches, with some areas being a little bit less. I think localized areas of up to 5 inches are certainly possible, but not many to take that sounding. You look at South Carolina here. South Carolina is, once again, it's going to be another state that will struggle with mixing issues, but that backside does on the NAM, it does want to bring about 2 to 4 inches of snow, which I think that if you do see that switch over to snow a little bit quicker, I think that you're going to see some areas that will see closer to 4, or maybe even as high as 5 inches of snow. If you're talking about according to this run of the NAM. and finally take you all the way out to sections of coastal North Carolina, all the way out to the Outer Banks. I don't know what the NAM's picking up on. It could be a pocket of sleet, but it does want to go for another area of about 6 to 8 inches, which I think is a little bit overdone. But I'd watch like these three areas for overachieving totals. I think these are the areas that have the highest possibility, the highest potential with this event. I think these areas have the highest potential to, once again, be overachievers. So let me know what you guys get out there. If you guys, just could pop outside and give me a reading, that'd be great. And just, throw it down into the comment section of one of my videos. And let me know how much snow you guys get out here, because that's going to be very, very interesting to see. But regardless, just stay safe out there. If you're talking about, travel, obviously, I don't know if all schools will be closed, but just make sure that you are staying safe on those roadways if you're getting to and from work and, just anywhere else in between. So we move over to the M3 camera once again, but for freezing rain totals, because obviously ice accumulation will also be a huge issue with this storm. And this is what I'm talking about. Now, the NAM has always been a model that is known for slightly overdoing ice accumulation totals, but you look at this for a signal for ice, and it is there and it's screaming in your face. Look how much ice we have showing up on the NAM here in the northern Florida panhandle. This goes out all the way to just north of Tallahassee. There is an area that the NAM wants for over an inch of ice accumulation. Now, that will obviously not happen, but you gotta think that with this big of a signal, you're going to get a lot of ice accumulation, so you're gonna have sliding issues once again. And with a fresh layer of 1 to 2 inches of snow on top of this, that's gonna cause even more slippery travel, because everyone knows if you get snow on top of ice, it just if you combine snow and ice on those roadways, it is going to cause very, very slippery travel. So um even if totals aren't exactly this high, you're going to get major ice accumulation, and that is once again going to cause slippery travel. So if you're in southern Georgia or the Florida Panhandle, it's definitely looking like, it's going to look like It's looking like we're going to see slippery travel out there, and there's a possibility to see, a trace to, maybe 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulation, even into sections of like the Carolinas. But northern Florida, the Panhandle of Florida, into southern Georgia are the areas that I really can't stress enough to make sure that you are paying extra attention to those roadways, and that you're getting caution to all warnings, because this is definitely also going to be a dangerous ice storm. And one of the main reasons why we have winter storm warnings in these counties is because of the ice accumulation. So that's just something that you need to keep in the back of your mind, that you want to make sure you're staying off those roadways as much as possible. But if you do need to be on those roadways, that you're taking it very, very slow and very, very seriously. All right, so finally, we do actually take a look also at the Weather Prediction Center. This is their overall winter storm impacts map. We haven't really looked at this in a while, but this basically just shows us what areas are highlighted to see the highest impacts overall from winter storm. And you can see we actually do have a couple areas highlighted in this red shade. This is a major threat to everyday life out here, going out for sections of southern Louisiana into Texas. So that's a level 4 out of 5 risk for winter storm impacts on the scale here. Okay, and they're even, I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if I can zoom in at all, but if I could, let's see. Yes, I actually can. If you take a look at that, you can see there is a little bit of purple showing up, and that is actually an extreme risk for winter storm impact. So there's a really high threat of major impacts. There will be school closures. I'm telling you guys, southern Louisiana, and areas a little bit farther to the west of there, that's where we're going to see the highest impact from the storm. All right, I don't think that there's really any doubt with that, just kind of being in mind. But you can see a lot of areas also under that moderate threat for seeing those that moderate threat for seeing those impacts. You can see that's a lot of these areas. Let me get my pen lower. 1 second, guys. But like I was saying, if you're in this orange shade, I mean, this is where we're still seeing those moderate impacts that are certainly possible. That's going out for sections of southern Mississippi, Alabama, and into the far western Florida Panhandle, but even a little bit of the Florida, or excuse me, the Carolina coastline, we do see that moderate risk forcing winter storm impacts. So it's there. The forecast is there. I mean, this is from the Weather Prediction Center, so this is definitely a trustworthy, uh, you know, source that we're seeing this from. But this is definitely going to be an impactful winter storm. We're not just saying it's going to be a major winter storm because of how far south the snow is. We're also talking about pretty significant totals, even if this was for a whole different area. All right, so you got to keep that in the back of your mind when you're taking a look at the forecast for this. And finally, for the last part of the update, I do also want to take a look and mention our wind chills. So obviously, our major Arctic blast is moving in, and you can see this on our wind chill map. This is how cold the wind is making it feel like. I just want you guys to look in northern North Dakota. We have wind chills as low as negative 55 degrees. So basically, what happens is even if you're dressed in layers, there is the threat for having frostbite in minutes. So you need a face mask. You need multiple layers just to be outside for a couple minutes. I mean, it's just so hard to function out there because of how cold it is. But basically, basically what just happened is the whole polar vortex collapsed on us. You can see our freezing mark is all the way down in the Gulf of Mexico, but I don't know why my mouse is glitching here, but you can see, even into like the northeast and the northern tier of the country, we are seeing single digits and lower with our wind chills. So extreme cold on its way. All of this cold air is going to continue to move south over the next couple of hours, and basically what we're seeing is a major Arctic plunge, and this is really the most favorable pattern for snow that we've seen in a long while. And this pretty much explains the whole reason why we are seeing snow this far south. I mean, a lot of people are probably wondering, why are we seeing snow in the Gulf of Mexico? Well, I mean, this is why. I mean, it is just so cold. If you haven't found out already, but you can see over the next couple of days just the progression of this Arctic blast. I will say we will see a slight warm up uh, in the central United States and the western United States as well, because the main focus of the Arctic blast will shift a little bit farther east with that storm system as it tracks over the east. But we will still see bitter cold across sections of like the Pacific Northwest and obviously the northern Great Plains. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for going to watch. I will see you guys in the next video. So stay tuned. Got more updates on the way on potential snow and obviously those upcoming snowstorms. If we do get any more to talk about, I will obviously be tracking them here with you guys. But stay safe out there. Let me know what you guys see out there. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next video. So thank you for going to watch. I will see you guys in the next video.